morning, watchers. Scott at SE Landscaping, and today something a bit different. A bit of fine sports turf work ready for the new season, so stay tuned. So I don't mind telling you, that was a tricky couple of days. First snag was we can't get stuff delivered to site. The access is terrible. So what we had to do is I had to get 200 bags of 25 kilogram top dressing dropped at my unit and then loaded on the transit and into the back of this van by hand, because I don't have a forklift. One of the guys up the road has a forklift, but he wasn't available when I nipped round, so it was by hand. So I chucked 100 onto the van yesterday morning for me, and then the lads brought 60 over on the van. I had 40 in here, and then they went back once we unloaded the 100. They went back and they brought the other 100 over. So got it on site yesterday. I did 6.4 miles of scarifying that green in 5 different directions. You can see why the big companies have these big machines, because like I say, a lot of this work we're doing, we're just helping out this organisation. We do a bit of work on the green, but the council don't specify all this extra stuff we're doing, so we just sort of try to help out. They've got any money or nothing. So we that was yesterday, and then obviously they're blown off afterwards and stuff. And the moss killer I put on a few weeks ago when it was really cold, it's sort of 80% of it was dead. Now, as I've explained before, I'm not sports turf, which I'll come on to in a bit. I know very little about sports turf, so I'll come on to that in a bit. But it killed about 80%, and there is still a little bit of moss in the green. But what I'm looking at is, once we start cutting and give it a light scarify, maybe during the growth season, it'll sort of keep it at bay. And then if we hit it again in August, once the season's finished, end of August, once the bowlers pack up again, we hit it again, and hopefully by next year the moss will be a lot more manageable than it has been. So that came on to yesterday. Then we moved on to today, and what my setup was this morning was the chuck the seed on 80 kilograms. Now 80 kilograms on a green that size worked out at 55 grams a square metre, which was sort of overkill, but they'd bought the seed themselves, and that's how much they wanted to put on. I said, you want to hold the bag back, and it'd probably still be enough, but no. So flung all the grass seed on. Well, I flung 3 bags on before I did some of the top dressing, and then I put a bag on afterwards. So then the system was me with the top dresser, and then the 2 guys loading up the top dresser as I got to the end with the bags, splitting the bags and chucking it in the top dresser, and then me pushing it backwards and forward. And it's the same again, all these machines I'm using. If you're doing a 200 square metre garden, it's not too taxing. But I've been up and down with that top dresser this morning, and I've covered just short of 3 mile again with the top dresser. And it's a hell of a machine, but on something that size you really need the big powered ones that these companies use. But it's done the job. I had to do quite a few passes. I had it on the highest rate. It was dropping a bag every 40 metres roughly, because that's the length of the bowling green. So it's provided a good finish for the seed. And then what we did was we drag matted it, and it's picked up any loose bits of moss and any loose bits of crap and stuff afterwards. And then we've gone around the edge, because the top dresser won't get right to the edge. So what we've done, we've gone around the edge and put a bit of top dress on by hand, and then gone around with that loop that I bought, which is a bit of an expensive rake. So 5 ton of top dressing, not just there but various piles around the green, and at the moment just scarifying it in 3 directions. So I've gone up and down, then I've gone across the other way, quite a lot of crap pulled out of it. Put a moss killer on a couple of weeks ago. There is still a little bit of moss that hasn't died off, but and we're going on with the LA42, and as you can see, dead moss there, and there's some holes where we aerated it because it was holding a lot of water. So there's another ton there, another ton there. So rabbit holes. So hopefully grass seed on in the morning, top dressed, it will look a lot better. So back at the Bowls Green, scarified in 5 different directions yesterday. The normal up and down, left and right, then the diagonals, then up and down again. The black areas are where the bulk of the moss was. A little bit of moss left in, but I'd say 90% of it's gone, and we can work with that. Just coming round, lots of top dressing all around to put on. 5 tons, 80 kilograms of seed, and then purchase to loot. This is the drop spreader. Anybody who knows me knows that I was looking for a Baron Brug and then a Sisus, and they were both just 8-week wait. Tudor managed to get hold of this for me quite quickly. It's an ICL spreader. So, and then over there we've got a drag mat and our seeder. Now you may ask, why have you forked out for all this equipment for one job? And I'll answer that in a bit. So once that's in, then we go over the whole surface with the drag mat, and it drags the seed into the holes of the scarifier and it covers it with the top dress. So another 197 bags to go. Let's get on with it. So drag mat now done, and finished job, just about. So the finished job, 5 ton in that machine, and it is not easy work, believe me, pushing that thing about all day. I can see how it's okay on small gardens, but these Bowling Greens, I can see why you would need a mechanical one. So I've forked out a lot of money this month for equipment for the bowls, for bowling, for something that I'm not a specialist in, but I'll come on to that now with the reason why. And I've probably spent, with the spread of the loot and a few other bits and pieces, I've probably spent just short of £2 with the VAT. And the reason being is, when the bowlers wanted this work done, years ago, I used to have a greenkeeper who used to come in and do me bits of work, because we used to have all of them on Bowls Green. But he retired, and a friend of mine down at the local golf club said he would help me out. So initially he was going to help me out do the job, and then he said, what about you do me a favour, I'll do you a favour, which was, he wanted me to cut some rough areas on the golf course. Lost for words at the moment. He wanted me to cut some of his rough areas on the golf course. So I said, yes, if you can provide me with some knowledge and help me out with the bowls, and help me out this summer coming, getting a bit more of an insight into fine turf, I said, we've got a deal that I'll cut your rough areas this winter, which winter just gone, and I'll do it again next winter for the knowledge you're passing to me. So the deal is, I've cut some rough areas around the golf course. I am going to go, hopefully if things go to plan, on a Friday afternoon once the summer comes, and I'm going to learn every couple of weeks about fine turf for 2 or 3 hours. He's going to take me around some of the jobs he does. He's going to show me, because you can read all the books you want, but there's nothing like hands-on from an expert who's been doing it for 35 years. So the plan will be Friday afternoons, hopefully, will be set aside to meet up with him, and he's going to teach me a bit more about fine turf. It's not a qualification. I am looking into whether it's worth doing something like that, but I don't do enough of it. But I'd like to know a bit more, because like I say, we look after football pitches, we have a croquet lawn, Bowling Green. A lot of it's basic maintenance, there's nothing in it, but if I can add an extra bit of knowledge without having to spend money, just by having that knowledge and saying, well, it could do with this, do you not want to go and get yourself a wetting agent, or do you not want to go and get yourself some fertiliser this time of year or something? If I've got that in my mind, it'll help their playing surfaces, and it helps me as well, because it gives me a bigger insight into the job. So like I say, it's one part of this trade that I'm not clued up on. I know the basics and everything, I can put a bit of weed and feed on, but you're blagging it, for a better word, like a lot of people seem to do in this trade. You've got your experts, and then obviously you've got a lot of people who do try and blag it. And with fine sports turf, you need to know pests and diseases. You need to know about everything that what dry weather does to you, what too much water can do to grass and everything. And that's all. You can only get that through knowledge of somebody else, or by going on courses. I'm going down the route of, firstly, getting the knowledge of someone else, and the plan will be every Friday I'll have a lot of questions to ask him. Hopefully 3 months down the line I'll have a better insight into sports turf. Yes, I won't be as good as Sean from Lawn Right or Robbie from Premier Lawns, but them guys have been doing it for years and years, and time served and things like that. So, but it's just to get a bit of understanding things really. So I don't mind saying the last 2 days have been heavy and hard work, and I'm feeling on my back, but things like that, it's pops back into my mind is when I used to marathon train, and when you run 80-90 mile a week, or when you're in a marathon and you hit a bad spot at 18 mile and you've still got 8 mile to go and you push through. It's days like this where it's hard work that you can manage to push through, and you can keep going because you've got it in your locker type of thing. That yes, I've had bad spots before in other trades, in other things I've done, hence the running. So I've muddled through. It's like I say, it's been a couple of rough shifts, to be honest, but it's also been enjoyable because in the back of my mind I'm learning new things. I'm also learning how hard sort of lawn care is, not so much lawn care as in a small lawn, but any of you guys who's banging out 1,000 square metre lawn and things, I can imagine that it's pretty full on. So there we go, job done. Now we just pray to the gods for rain. I'm going to go with my Bowser. Today is Thursday. We had a little rain last night which helped the seeds stick this morning. We've got a bit of rain due tonight, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go Saturday morning with a couple of Bowsers and absolutely drench it. What I mean is a couple of 1,000 litres on, and once I've put that on Saturday morning, it's with the gods then, and it's with the bowlers, because the bowlers have promised to do their bit, which we know that might not happen. Not being pessimistic, but I don't have a lot of faith. But we'll see how it goes. And like I say, I've done my part. I've done more than we should have done. I've helped out a lot more, and I hope they appreciate that. So we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping that once we start cutting that green this year, it'll be a lot better surface, because last year we were cutting it and you were cutting through moss, and if it was a bit damp on the morning when you were cutting it, you were slipping and sliding all over like you're on a bloody wet dance floor. So that's it. And now I am finally off. I need to head off to my local dealer, and no, I'm not going to buy anything, but I say that I probably will. I am going to take my Grillo in for a service. I've left it till the last minute. I need to use it again in 2 weeks, but I have faith in my local dealer that once I drop this machine off, I'll have it back in 2 weeks, because the first cuts I'm doing on the sites I use this on, the first cuts I always mulch, because the grass is that long that I just find it easy if we mulch first and then we drop on with the cut and collect afterwards. So that will be the plan for this afternoon, and then I've got my excavator to pick up, which has had a nice service. Even though it hasn't done many hours, it's had an oil change, and I just want everything good to go, that there's no stumbling blocks this year. So obviously all the Ferruses are new. The Ransom's just had a big overhaul. The one I was going to sell has had a big overhaul. It's had new cylinders, sorry, not new cylinders, new sole plates. It's been ground up. It's had a full service and everything, so that's all good to go. So we pretty much A-OK for equipment, and now we're just ready to hit the ground running. The weather's been okay the last 2 days, but the ground is still soaking. I noticed our local council's just started cutting grass there yesterday, but like I said, they usually go out too early anyway. They usually start early and plough through everything, but like you say, it's not their machines and they're not really bothered, so that's the thing. So that is the plan of action. We've got another week next week, which will be a little bit of fencing, a little bit of jobs to tidy up. We've got some boulders coming for that job we talked about next week, which will be nice to get bit of footage of that planting area I spoke about a couple of videos ago. But apart from that, another week and then it will be grass cutting. So that's it for today. Like I say, input's good. Any of you experts who are looking at that bowling green and can give me some input and say, well, yes, you're getting advice off somebody, but I think you could have done this or you could have done that. I'm free to criticism, because at the end of the day, I'm all new to this. And anybody who thinks that we've done a good job as well, that we've had good advice, drop that in below. At least I know that the man who's giving me advice then is worth his weight in gold, which I know in the back of my mind he is, but there you go. So that is it for today. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.